Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. We are your Emerald Coast relocation team. And as you can tell, I am by myself today, but we are going to be covering a very important topic and kind of in a style that we haven't done in a while, which is going to be the pros and cons and what better city to cover than Pensacola. I will say I always have a really hard time with pros and cons because I don't know which one to ever start with first. Like, do I start with the doom and gloom and then go and end on a positive note, or do I, start really happy hoping that you guys all stick around to hear the bad things? So because I'm an overall positive person, let's just go ahead and get the bad things out of the way. So we're going to be covering 5 cons about Pensacola and 5 pros. That first con that we're going to be covering is going to be the tourism. Now this one's pretty obvious, but one thing that you have to know about Pensacola, it is not the same as Pensacola Beach. So today we're going to be talking about Pensacola. However, when you are going to Pensacola Beach, majority of that traffic is going to be coming in from Pensacola, and we do have a high tourist season. Now, there is a pro kind of connected to this con because I will say after looking at all the other beaches, we actually get less tourism than some of the more, known areas such as Orange Beach. I think we get a third of the tourists there. Look at this, guys. It's going to be windy on me. I think we get the third of the tourists that actually go to Orange Beach, and then even less or about equivalent to Destin. So yes, we have a lot of tourism. Yes, you are going to feel it if you are living on, say, Pensacola Beach, and you might feel some of the traffic coming in through Pensacola to the beach, but you will have a little less tourism if you are living in like the city of Pensacola, because the only real attraction that you're going to have there is that downtown historic. So people will be coming downtown, but if you live on the outskirts, I don't think you'll feel it as much, but you are 100% going to be feeling those tourist seasons. And a lot of people love on off season when it is real quiet, it feels very small town and quaint, and then in tourist season it very quickly will feel like a city. All right, the second con that I'm going to be covering is going to be schools. Now, the reason I want to cover this is because there are certain areas that are close to Pensacola that have higher school ratings. So in Pensacola, you're going to be Escambia County, which comes in, according to niche.com, as a B-. That does not seem that bad. However, as you zoom into the district, you're definitely going to want to check out what schools are making up that total grade. So if you're new to the channel, I'll teach you how to do that really quick. You go to niche.com, you go on the left-hand side after you're already at the district, go all the way down to the map, and then from there you can see all the different schools that are feeding into that overall grade. The reason this is going to be a con versus a pro, because a lot of you are probably saying, a B- really isn't that bad, Chelsea, and I get that. However, when you are being compared to some, A schools, or even going down towards Destin being one of kind of the top rated school systems in Okaloosa, obviously that's going to come at a lower rating. So just so you can kind of see the comparables when you're looking at the Emerald Coast, Pensacola with Escambia County is going to be a B-. Santa Rosa even comes in at a B+, but remember, these are very large counties, they're kind of elongated, and so that's going to be covering Pace and Milton, Gulf Breeze and Navarre. And then if you go down to Okaloosa, that will also cover Fort Walton and Destin. Okaloosa is going to be an A. So yes, in comparison to going down further towards Destin, Pensacola is going to have a lower school rating. The other thing is that when you are looking into some of the neighborhoods in Pensacola that are highly desirable, some of them are lacking some of those higher graded schools. So a lot of times people will choose to go with a private school system. So a lot of places like maybe say East Hill or some of those up and coming areas are choosing to do private school over public. The good thing though is DeSantis passed in March of 2023 the school choice House Bill 1. That House Bill 1 has actually a lot of components that I wasn't aware of. One of them obviously being that you have school choice, that you can go to whatever school that you want to go to. However, it also has a financial aspect showing that you get a voucher that will allow you to have that voucher for whatever school you choose that they would have been getting at that school of your district or wherever you live. You'd be able to apply that voucher to the school of your choice. So this is a financial support and also just allowing choice to be able to go outside of where you lived. I remember growing up, if you wanted to go to a different school, you almost had to to live in that area in order to get in. Otherwise, they would fill up and then you would be on a list and you would, try to get into that school, but there was a lot of hoops that you had to go around. Whereas in Florida, you do have school choice. So even though the schools might be lower, you do have some flexibility around that. The other thing about schools, I know I shouldn't be talking about pros with cons, but it's really hard not to. You have to consider this as well. Even if you are living in an area that doesn't have the best schools, Pensacola is pretty small. So if you are going to commute to another school, it actually isn't that bad. All right, the third con, which this one's kind of silly, but to us has been kind of a thing, and that is the lack of wineries and also cideries. Now, that seems really silly. However, I do have some cool facts about it. Trent, who is on our team, he actually talked to us a little bit about this because we're like, well, why don't we have a lot of wineries down here? And he said there's not enough temperature fluctuation for the grapes. And so the closest grapes is actually going to be in northern Georgia. So fun fact, that's why we don't have a ton of wineries down here. The other thing that we don't have a lot of is cideries. Now, we couldn't really figure out why that is. It also could just be that coming from Colorado, it's really bougie and what's better for you than beer and this and that and this. And cidery, especially some of the dry ciders, became very, very popular and it just hasn't hit this area yet. I will say though, in Pensacola, you're still going to be able to find your breweries, your winery, and then downtown they have the whiskey bar. So there is some options. There's just not very many. We're coming from Colorado. That was on every corner, so it seems a little weird that it's limited in this area. All right, the fourth con is going to be inconsistent neighborhoods. This is something that we noticed right away when moving here to Pensacola or the surrounding cities, is that you can have $1 million homes on one street, and then you can have a home that maybe nobody lives in on the next, or something that's $150,000 and then next door be $1 million. That is not common where we come from, and the inconsistency in neighborhoods, if you're not used to that, is something that we've heard a lot of clients talk about. So coming here and exploring, just expect that you might see that inconsistency in neighborhoods. We don't have a ton of master plans where there's a lot of new areas, and so we do have a lot of up and coming areas, but we don't have that newness that a lot of people coming from larger cities may be looking for. I like to set the precedent so that when you come here, a lot of people are like, gosh, it just feels so old. I know, I get it. I also come from kind of a newer area, and it's kind of takes a minute to get adjusted to that. And you have to be okay with your asset that you may be spending $1 million on might not have the nicest neighbors, say 3-4 houses down. That's hard for some people to grasp. Since we're on this topic, let's go ahead and cover that fifth one. That fifth con is going to be the lack of amenities. So if you're coming from a big city, you are going to be lacking all of those big city amenities. So I'm talking Topgolf, IKEA, the Costco's. We don't even have a Costco here. We're trying, we really are, but we don't have one currently. A lot of different restaurants to choose from. The big downtown life with the clubbing and kind of bougie bars. Now, I will say Pensacola downtown is so cute and quaint, but it's not going to be that rowdy atmosphere if you're coming from the city. So if you like to be out and about and you like the walkability and you're looking for kind of that downtown scene, we have one, but it's going to be a little bit more small town and quaint and kind of a little bit more local. You're going to see people that you know versus that big city life where you can get a little rowdy, get all dressed up and go to a very bougie area for some downtown bars. They just don't have a ton of that big city, downtown life. All right, enough about the cons. Let's get to the good stuff. So obviously the first con and most important about Pensacola is going to be that cost of living. The cost of living here in Pensacola, not Pensacola Beach, that's a whole nother topic, but Pensacola specifically is awesome. In fact, Peter and I just covered a lot of the cities along Emerald Coast, and out of 8 different topics, Pensacola hit 6 of them as being the cheapest and compared to the cities along the coastline. That is huge. The only 2 that it actually didn't meet the lowest was going to be utilities and transportation. You guys do not know how many times I've had to stop this video, but I wanted to record outside for you so bad, but we are experiencing some of that spring weather. So as you can tell, my hair is flying across my face, but I wanted to get you guys outside. I'm hoping to record more, show you what it looks like out here and not just behind the studio. So bear with me. I know you guys can't tell how many times I'm stopping it, but if my hair is blowing in my face, that is why. So I looked up for you kind of like the big differences with utilities and transportation. With utilities, it came in at 105, where the lowest was 103. So there's not a huge difference in that. Now, as far as transportation, it was 89 in comparison to 88. So again, not a huge difference, and it was still below national average. I honestly feel like those two actually don't really count though, because they are actually very close to the cities who scored the lowest. So I feel like overall Pensacola came in very hot when it comes to those 8 topics. Actually, actually, if you guys want to dive in deeper to that, why don't you go check out that video? We compare Pensacola all the way down to Destin on cost of living and different topics. So go check out that video now. We'll try to put a link in here for you for quick access. The second pro of Pensacola is going to be the proximity to top destination areas. I looked up this morning just so you had an idea, especially during traffic hours, to kind of see how far away we are from some of the top destinations over in the Emerald Coast. And this is the time, say you live in Pensacola and you do, maybe Destin is like where you go to vacation. These are how far away things are if you decided to call Pensacola your home. So you wouldn't have to live in the destination area, but you can still take advantage of it without even having to pay for a flight. Okay, the first one is Destin. Actually, let's go the furthest. Is it Rosemary or Panama City? Well, we'll do Panama City. Panama City is 2 hours and 22 minutes away. Easily have a drive for way cheaper than actually booking a flight. If you go from Rosemary, it's an hour and 50 minutes away. Destin is only an hour and 14 minutes away. And again, guys, I looked this up in pretty normal traffic hour times. If you were going the other direction, say Orange Beach, Orange Beach, it is going to be 49 minutes away. So these are areas that people come to. This is their vacation spot. They wait for that year round. You can live in Pensacola and be within 2 hours and 30 minutes of the furthest away destination city on the Emerald Coast. The other thing really quick about proximity is going to be the airport. If you are living in Pensacola, you are going to be pretty much within 20 minutes or less. Like 20 minutes is the max, guys. The 20 minutes from the airport. So even over in Gulf Breeze where Peter and I live, that actually Trent also lives over there, it is going to be less than a 30-minute drive to the airport. That is incredible. So if you are having to travel outside of the area and not wanting to drive, you still have a very short commute to the airport. All right, the third pro is going to be our beaches. I had to get out my notebook because I cannot remember all of these, but I was so excited to hear that other people love our beaches as much as we do. Here are a couple of the statistics to show you where it rates and how many times it's actually had kind of a nationwide recognition with Pensacola Beach. Now, I know we're talking about Pensacola, however, Pensacola Beach is only 15 minutes away from most areas in Pensacola, 20 at the very most. So that is amazing that you can still get those low cost and still have some of the best beaches around. All right, so I'm going to read you a couple of these that I pulled from several different websites, but Pensacola Beach received national recognition as one of the top 25 on TripAdvisor in the United States. So that's really big. Also, Traveler's Choice considers the best of the best and Traveler's Choice. This is a big deal because the top 25 is awarded to the top 1% of the listings on TripAdvisor. So that is huge. And then not only that, we've had several recognitions over the last few years. Another recognition was in 2020. They were asking everybody to kind of rate, obviously, these beaches, and it rated a 4.5 out of 5, which was a large rating at the time and actually went into recognition. And then in 2022, it made number 8 in the Southern Living list. So Pensacola Beach is beautiful. You have the white sand beaches. It's clean. There are areas next to the pier that you cannot fish on. And so that's really nice for any swimmers if you don't want to be anywhere near the fishing. We learned this the hard way. We were down there with the kids one day, me and a friend of mine, and they brought lunches and we were going to just let the kids, I don't know, boogie board, skim board, fish, whatever you want. And we learned that on Pensacola Beach, there are 2 yellow posts. I guess on the one side of the pier and then the others on the other side. And that whole area you're not allowed to fish in. And it is just, guys, the beaches are incredible. And it also has the walkability for the restaurants. You are not going to be able to beat our beaches, so much so that Peter and I used to travel every single year for our anniversary. We're not going to the beach this year because I think it's going to be very hard to top what we get to call home, especially at Pensacola Beach. All right, I'm excited if you guys are sticking around this long. You get to see the sun come out. But the next thing and the fourth topic we're going to be covering with Pensacola is going to be the events. Pensacola, for being a small city, has some of the most, probably some of the most events, but also awesome events. So whether you are going to gallery night every single month downtown, whether it is going to be around a holiday for, say, Christmas and all of the lights they had fake snow over Christmas downtown, but also Pensacola Bay Center. Whether you are going to go see an Ice Flyers game, you want to just go and skate, they have open skating, you want to go to a concert, they had Monster Jam this weekend in Pensacola, which I'm so bummed I didn't know about until it was almost too late. late. They have Disney on Ice coming to Pensacola this weekend, and I know so many people who are going to that. They have all the sport teams that will come. I mean, you are never going to be bored when it comes to events. That if say you're a runner, running here is huge. We have done several runs. That was one thing that I wanted to do, and moving here is be more active, because even though I came from the beautiful state of Colorado where it's very active, I wanted a different type of active, and moving from mountains to beach, you get exactly that. One thing that did not change though was the runs. We have done the Double Bridge run, which is huge in February. I mean, it was incredible how many people came to that. They have pretty much a run for every holiday. So whether it's St. Patrick's Day, which we just did with our children, we ran that all together. They have the 4th of July one. I mean, I could go on and on. They have a Pensacola run club. All of the shoe places have run clubs. Like, you cannot beat it. I think this week, or I guess it's next week, depending on when this posts, we are going to be doing the Bayou Run, which is a 10K, and then they have a lot of competitions too for the local gyms, whether it's going to be Battle on the Coast or women competing against women, men competing against men, triathlons. Like, if you are looking for something to do here, you are not going to have any issues doing that. All right, if you stuck around this long, this is going to be a topic that I don't typically cover, and one that I need to dive in and learn so much about. However, I did recently learn from one of you guys about the 5th Pro to Pensacola, and that is going to be the Intercoastal Waterway Access. When we were helping one of you move here, you were talking, obviously we don't fish yet, we are trying so hard to get out there and learn. A lot of it has to do with like getting a boat and trying to figure out the best way to do that. But one of you had moved here saying, I am specifically looking for access to the Gulf, and I want to be able to get there in a short amount of time. Things that we never considered was how much it would cost for a boat to not only fill up on gas to get from point A to point B, but also the different access points and how close you are to that, and how many options of places to live in order to be close to it. That's a lot. I know we are also still learning about it. However, this has come up several times since, of clients moving here with a boat who want that access and want it to be close by so they can take advantage of the water more often, and also have multiple areas that they can live in order to have access to the water. That one, guys, we are going to try to do some really cool things on boating and stuff as we're learning, and just show you if you're moving from another place that also doesn't have the ocean, we want you to be able to learn through our experiences. So if you are interested in that, give us a thumbs up on this video so I can kind of gear if that's something that you're interested in. All right, guys, we have covered 5 cons, 5 pros of Pensacola. I thank you for sticking around with me, especially with the wind blowing in my face. If you are looking to purchase here in the beautiful state of Florida, specifically from Pensacola down to Destin, we have put together the best team of licensed real estate agents. So give us a call down below. And if you're not ready to buy yet, no worries. Hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, hit that notification bell so that you are notified every single time that we put out a new video. Thank you so much for joining me today. And until next time, we love you. Pensacola is pretty small. Guys, it is windy. He said that the reason we don't have grapes here is because there is not this wind, and it just hasn't hit this type of area yet. I will walking into a brand new area. This wind. I wanted to be outside for you guys. And now you're coming here and you're looking for those big city. One con is the weather does not behave when you're trying to take a pretty video outside.